Hi, Sophia. And we're going to start real quick and my name is Jennifer, by the way. I'm Jennifer Owens, and we've got Jamie Baker and Laura, and hello, she's waving, with us today. And we're going to do a quick icebreaker. So in the chat, if you could put where you are from, your city and state, and then also answer the question, what is the most challenging aspect about collaborating with others at a distance? And we'll get started here in just right at the top of the hour, so we've got a few minutes left.
Hello.
Hello?
Hi there.
Hi. Is this Mark?
Yep.
Hello. How are you today?
Okay, how are you guys?
Good. We are doing a quick little icebreaker before we get started. So in the chat, if you could put where you're joining us from, your city and state, and then answer the question that you see on your screen. What is the most challenging aspect about collaborating with others at a distance? And we're also going to be sharing with you the handout in the chat, so I want to make sure that you get the link to that as well. And make sure that you check the chat throughout, because at each interval we will be sending you a link to the Google Doc, sheets, and slides, because you're actually going to be going in and working in that collaboratively, so as we go through the webinar. So definitely check throughout the presentation for information in the chat.
Okay.
And it looks like Sophia is in Denver, and so is Mark. Now, I am in Kansas City. Jamie's in Denver, and we have Laura, who's in Florida.
I hear it's snowing in Colorado.
Just for the last 3 days. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We're all getting sick. We're all getting sick of it down here.
Yeah, our heater, well, we have one of those older furnaces, and the pilot light went out because it's so warm here. And then a few days ago, I was like, wow, it's freezing in here. What is happening? And I had to relight the furnace, basically.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's fine, but yeah, it's that time of the year. Can't decide what temperature to be.
I'm originally from the Chicagoland area, and that's pretty much what it was like all the time. You just never knew if it was going to be snowing or warm. And this year they had one of those days where, like, in the morning it was like 70, and by the night it was snowing. So I'm thankful to be in Florida where it's warm.
Yeah. I'm going to go grab my headphones. I'll be right back.
We've got about 4 minutes before we start, so we'll probably have a few more people coming on. And just as a quick reminder, if you could put your mic on mute until you have a question, that would be great.
Looks like Joni and Ryan have joined.
And Joni and Ryan, if you can hear me, oh, it looks like you can because you're looking at the screen. But we're doing a quick icebreaker before we start. And if you could just put in the chat, and if you're not familiar with Zoom, at the bottom, there is a chat button and at the very middle. And if you could put in the chat the answer to the 2 questions you'll see on your screen. What city and state are you joining us from today? And then answer the question, what is the most challenging aspect about collaborating with others at a distance? Looks like we've got, Joni is calling in from Denver, Colorado. And we've got several people from Colorado calling in today. I'm from Dallas, Texas.
I'm sorry, you said someone's from Dallas?
Yes, we have Alicia, who is from Dallas, Texas, and then Ryan is from Woodland Park, Colorado.
Okay, so more from Colorado. Is Texas warm where you are?
It is.
I'm in Florida, so I'm enjoying the warm weather.
Oh, nice. I used to live in Florida. I love it there.
It's a little humid for me, but I'm not going to complain. It's better than the snow to me. So
Yeah.
And it looks like we've got about 1 minute before we'll get started, but just wanted to talk a little bit about some of our answers here. It looks like Joni says the most challenging part is having multiple versions of documents and getting confused about, which one is the latest and who has done what on the collaborative work. And Mark says that overlapping work and personal schedules is the biggest issue. Sophia tells us that her most challenging aspect about collaborating is conflict resolution. Those are all very good. And I'm taking a look here. It looks like we have a couple of people who have joined us since. If you've just joined us, go ahead and answer the 2 questions that are on the screen in the chat. If you're not familiar with Zoom, if you look at the very bottom of your screen, you'll see a chat button. Just click on that, and then you'll see everybody's name. But answer the question, where are you joining us from, your city and state, and then answer the question, what is the most challenging aspect about collaborating with others at a distance? And as you're answering those questions, I'm going to turn this over to Laura, who's going to get us started with today's presentation.
hi, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. I know that we added the handout to our chat a little bit earlier. So if you can go ahead and access the handout, that would be great. It is in a Google document, so we'll be working with that today. Okay, and thank you all for joining us. Today we're going to be talking about 4 tools for collaborating with Google Drive. And today you'll be hearing from Jamie Baker, Jennifer Owens, and then I am Laura Mita. So again, thank you guys very much for being here, and hopefully we have some great information for you. So we're actually going to go ahead and start with some poll questions, and we'd like you to please go ahead and respond in Zoom chat for this. And so here are 3 of the questions, the 3 questions. Have you ever collaborated online? If so, how often? And if so, what tools did you use when you were collaborating?
And it looks like we've got some responses coming in here. We have quite a few people. Actually, it looks like everybody so far has collaborated online and has used anything from Google Suite, Zoom, and let's see, Connect, WebEx, Link. Looking through here to see what else we have. Frequency looks about once a week. Some people are daily. That's a lot. We have Dropbox, Prezi, Google Drive, so we've got a lot of different ways that people are collaborating with each other. I'm going to turn this back over to Laura.
Okay, sounds good. And it does sound like a lot of you have a good deal of experience with this already, so that's good. But I want to go over reasons why everyone should be using Google. And I'm a huge advocate of it. So I feel it's one of the easiest to use that I've used before. My favorite part of it is the fact that there's no need to save on your computer, upload it to an email. Somebody else has to download it, make whatever changes, re-save it, re-upload it. It's just such a process. And so with Google Drive, it's really nice because it can be accessed from anywhere. It's constantly saving your work, and there's no need to remember to save something. If you accidentally close your window, it automatically saves it. And then, of course, the real-time communication with your group members is probably one of my favorite parts of it. So we're going to be going over today several ways in which Google Drive can be used. And as I said earlier, we're going to be talking about 4 different tools. So today we will be following Josh. Josh is a college student who's taking Public Speaking 101, and he was assigned a group project and 2 teammates, Brandon and Sarah. And they're going to be using Google Drive for collaboration. The 4 tools that they will be using are folders in order to organize the files, docs, and for their purpose, they're just going to be using it to have a place to ask each other questions and brainstorm some ideas. They're going to be using sheets to have a schedule. They're going to put in the times that they're all available and list different responsibilities and kind of give themselves a checklist. And then eventually they're going to put all of their information and all of their ideas into their slide presentation so that at the end they can present their final product to their group. So for their class. So we're going to go ahead and we are going to start working with folders. Okay, so this is the folder we actually already created for Josh, working with his document, his sheets, and his slides. So Josh went home, he created this. He knows that he needs one of each of these to kind of present, but he has to share his folder with his group. So as soon as he shares the folder, you can click on the folder itself, go down to share. Okay, and you have different options here. You have the option to copy the link and share the link individually, or you have the option to put your team members' names in, which tends to be, at least I believe, is one of the easier ways to share it so that everyone always has like easy access to it and can add it easily to their drive. So I'm not going to actually go through this whole process simply for the fact that we will be sharing each individual file with you as we go along. So that's 2 different ways that you can share it, and every file within that folder will have the option of either can edit or can view, depending on the option that you select there. So since they're all going to be working with it, we want them each to edit it. Are there any questions so far?
Doesn't look like there's any questions, Laura.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pass it on over to Jamie, and Jamie will begin going over Google Docs.
Thank you, Laura. So one of the first tools that Josh and his teammates, Brandon and Sarah, are going to use to get started is Google Docs. And the beginning stages of a project require a lot of brainstorming and sharing ideas. So Google Docs is fantastic for this because it's a shareable document that all of the participants can contribute to. And they can contribute individually on their own time, or they can do it together in real time for better collaboration. So let me get started here showing you how Josh, who's kind of a team leader, is going to get started with his Google Doc. So just to create a document, once he's in his Google folder, which Laura already showed you, he's going to click on New. And if you want to follow along on the handout, we're on page 4 of the handout. So he's just going to go to New, and then he will go to Google Docs. And it says create in a shared folder, and the created item will have the same sharing permissions as the selected folder, which is what Laura already selected. So other people will be able to go in and edit the document that he creates. And he'll hit OK, and it'll open a new document that everybody can contribute to. For our purposes, so that we can all contribute to this document, we have one that we've already created, which I shared in the chat box. So if everybody could click on the link that was shared in the chat box, it will bring you to the document that Josh is creating. What Josh is trying to do, and his teammates, Brandon and Sarah, they want to create a document where they can brainstorm ideas for this presentation that they have to give for their Public Speaking 101 class. So they need to come up with some ideas for a topic and for presentation ideas. So if you could all, if you have access to the document, if you haven't already, like I said, it's in the chat box, go ahead and get into the document there and spend some time to add to the document, get a little comfortable contributing text about any presentation ideas you might have, what somebody in a Public Speaking 101 class might want to use as a topic or a presentation idea. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to get in there and contribute some ideas for our brainstorming activity here. Well, you guys are great. It took me a while to come up with some ideas to put in there. You guys are just right on top of it, adding stuff. How fabulous. Don't bring your girlfriend. Interesting. Show the Ryan Gosling video of him not eating his cereal and then finally taking a bite. Fabulous. We've got some really creative minds here. Okay, we'll do about another minute for everybody to get into the document and add some ideas. There's also a place, if you're interested, if you scroll down in the document for questions, which is another great use of Google Docs, is that you can ask questions also. So if you have any questions that you think your teammates might be able to answer, you can fill them in down in the question area. How to ask your parents for more money. I need that one for me in my 30s. All right, so it looks like we have quite a few contributions here. You guys did a wonderful job with that. So Josh now, he's shared this document with his classmates, and he's interested to see who has contributed and what they've contributed. So one of the great parts of Google Docs is that you can see the revision history. And like for Josh's purposes, it'll just let him know who contributed and when and what. So Super simple way to do that. You just go up to File, and then you go down to see Revision History, and I'm going to go ahead and do it here so you guys can all see. And it's going to change the way it looks a little bit. And it's not changing exactly how I expected it to. But either way, if you take a look and on the right side of your screen, it shows the revision history, and it shows who did what. So Josh can go in and look and see who contributed what and what color is attributed to what person. So that's how he knows who did what. So it's an easy way for everybody contributing to get into the document and not only see what's there, but who put it there and when. And then it's easier to ask questions and collaborate further. So that's one of the best uses of Google Docs, and a very popular use for it is for brainstorming ideas and asking questions within your group. So does anybody have any questions about that? I am not seeing anything. So I am going to go ahead and pass it on over to Jennifer, and she's going to talk to us about how a team such as Josh and Sarah and Brandon might use Google Sheets to further collaborate.
Hi, I am inside of the side of the folder that Josh shared with everyone, and mine looks a little different. You can view it as each sheet as you've seen before, or you can view it as a list. I'm going to click on the O2 Josh and group sheets. If you want to follow along in the handout, it's going to be pages 6 and 7. And I did share with you inside of the chat a link to this exact Google Sheet. If you'll go ahead and click on that, don't make any changes yet, but you will definitely need to make a change for our activity. I'm going to click on this Google Sheet to access it. And this particular Google Sheet has 3 sheets at the bottom because we wanted to know, Josh wanted to know if Sarah and Brandon, what their availability was. And it looks like that Brandon just put that this was his best day on Tuesday, but he hasn't added any times. They also wanted to know who was responsible for what. So they put in some, who was responsible for setting things up, and a little place for an X whether or not they had done that. And then lastly, this is where they are going to put in the timing of their speech once they start constructing it. Let's go back to the availability tab. And a few things that you can do here, if you go up to, in the upper right-hand corner, where you see all of these little icons, you've got comments. I'm actually going to go to show chat because I happen to know that Brandon is online right now in this document in Google Sheets. And I'm going to say, Brandon, please enter your best time as well as your best day. And Brandon can respond. He'll probably go ahead and enter that information directly into, this is his best day. So let's say that his best time is from 4. He'll put from 4 to 6. I'm going to close out the chat, but to let you know, I just wanted to show you real quick before I close it that if I switch tabs, my chat will still stay open. But so we can have more space so you can look at it, I'm going to close out the chat. And the next thing we're going to look at is notifications, because if there's a change made to their availability, then Josh wants to know about it right away. I'm going to go up to Tools and go down to Notification Rules. And Josh wants to be notified if any changes are made And he wants to know right away instead of just a daily digest. Once he's done, he'll just click save. Then it'll tell you that there is one rule right now for notifications, and it says if any changes are made, then send an email. Then click done. And lastly, I'm going to show you how to do notes. And any cell that you click on, I'll click on Brandon's time that he put in here. If you do a right click inside of a cell and choose insert note, you can make a note that whenever you hover over it, the note will show up. So I'm going to say, Brandon, I am available from 5 to 6. Now notice that as soon as I clicked off of it, there is now this little, in the corner, it looks like it's colored in black, this little triangle. But whenever I hover over it, you can see the little note that now pops up. And those are some of the ways that you can collaborate within Google Sheets. And now we're all going to try it. So now that you're all in there, notice that we have all kinds of colors going on. What I'm going to have you do is pretend like you are a member of Josh's team, and go ahead and put your name in here. Pick a cell that doesn't already have a color, and then just put the words best day for whatever your best day is. And I'm going to put in here my name, and my best day is Thursday. I love seeing everybody do something all at once, especially when we have a lot of people in there. It's so very interesting. You have to know what color you are and look at what you're doing. And it looks like just about everybody has put their information in there. Gonna give it just a few more seconds and I think we'll all be done. We have a best day and a worst day, Mark says. I wouldn't want to do anything on Friday either. Okay, I think we have all put our information in. I wanted to see if anybody had any questions about collaborating with Google Sheets.
I can answer both. There was a question about Google Sheets, Jennifer, a little bit up, and now it kind of has made its way, and I did answer it. Is a sheet just an Excel worksheet? That's the only difference, and that's the difference between the doc and the sheet. Can you upload an Excel file to a sheet? You can upload documents like Word and Excel and PowerPoint into Google, and then you're able to convert them. And I will actually show you how to do that once we get to the slide presentation. And then if you're logged into Google, how do you get your name to appear at the top instead of being an anonymous animal? To be honest, at least in my experience, this has been somewhat hit or miss when I'm logged in. But most of the time, if it's shared specifically with you, it won't be an anonymous animal versus if you're sharing just the link with the individual. If someone deletes your work, if it's been a little bit, so maybe like a minute or two, you can always go back to that revision history and actually select the older revision and change it back if you've X'd out of it. But if you're still in there, it works the same as the undo. So you can go in and kind of undo the items, but I've done the revision history, revert back to an older revision if I'm looking for something that's been deleted, or at least to view it. Do all users need a Google Gmail account to participate? No, you do not need one. I will say that I use it with my students, and so I usually require my students to create an account simply because it will then show you the person, and it'll show colors when they do editing or revising versus that anonymous gray color that you saw in Jamie's document. And no, in order to chat, I don't believe you have to be signed into Google. I've used it with individuals who have not. Was someone trying? Ryan, were you trying and it wasn't working for you?
I've just had it tell me, prompt me and say that I have to be signed in before. And that was a quick way to, or just one of the requirements. And if you've seen it differently, I don't know, but it's prompted me before that I needed to be signed in, and it might be different sharing settings.
I'm assuming that it's a different sharing setting because I've shared files with coworkers before, and they've been able to go in, and I've had chats with them, and some of them don't have Gmail accounts at all. So I've never had that issue, but it may have been a setting on the file itself or on the way in which you shared it with them. So there's different ways in which you can share it. Okay, and Joni said that she's never had any issues with folks without a Gmail account. So, and I don't think I've ever had one.
Laura, this is Sophia. I have sort of a question. So I saw earlier when you were sharing the folder, this is not specific to the sheet. I know on my documents, you can say that when you're sharing, people can either edit, view, or comment. Is that possible on Google Sheets too, to have them share so they can comment but not edit?
On Google Sheets, Jennifer, did you look at the settings for that? I don't use Sheets a whole. I use them, but I don't use them to share a whole lot.
Sure, I just went into the share, and the options here will say that they, can edit, that they can comment, or that they can view. So you still have those options within here, and then there's more so that you can, say whether it's public on the web, anyone with a link, or if it is specific, just specific people that you want to share this with.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, then I'm going to turn this over to Laura, and she is going to show us how Josh and his team collaborate using Google Slides.
Okay, we're going to come back to me. Let me go ahead and we're going to go ahead and look at the Google Slides now. And I'm not going to show it as a presentation because we're going to be working in it. Let me get you guys all the link because I want everyone to get into it. So I've gone ahead in the chat box and shared the link with everyone. And in here, what we're going to be working with primarily is the comments function. And they've started their presentation. Josh and Brendan and Sarah did start their presentation. And one person apparently has terrible grammar and tons of typos because there's a great deal of misspelled words in here. And if you are following along in the handout, we're on page 8 right now. So if you have the handout out, you can kind of look at what we're doing there as well. But the comment section here, it's the easiest way to comment. And you'll notice in the left-hand side where it shows slides 1, 2, and 3, you'll see that there's a little number 1 next to slide 1 and slide 3, showing that there's comments in both of those right now. And you can actually see my comment on the right-hand side of the screen where it says freshman. And so what you would do is you'd click on whatever you're looking for, you would right-click, and you go down to the comment option. And this is the way in which you would comment on it. So this has a whole bunch of errors in it. And what I'd actually like you guys to do, so you get some time with the comment function, instead of actually changing it, go ahead, find errors in here, right click on wherever an error is, and it's on all 3 pages. There's little errors throughout, and just comment on what the error is and show how to maybe spell it correctly or what needs to be done for a change. I'm an English instructor. It was very painful to make intentional errors here. Okay. If you want to add content, Sophia.
It is a little painful to look at, to be honest.
I was trying to think of mistakes that my college freshman students make when they're creating their assignments, and text language was one of them, and tons of abbreviations. Okay. I'm looking to see if everyone's done a little something here, and so that we can move on a little bit. Looks like everyone has added a little something. Okay, so you guys got a little experience with the chat feature, and the chat feature and the comments feature and the revision history, they're in all of these. So they're all really great features that you can use within docs, slides, and presentations. So even though we worked with chat in the sheets, and I said them all incorrectly, even though we've worked with the sheets with the chat feature, there's still a chat option here. We can still go to File and look at the revision history to see who's made changes. Okay, and so there's a lot of options with Google in general to be able to go in and see who's accessed it. And you'll see that with this, you see a lot of the actual individual, all of your names appeared here, which is really nice as well, so you know who actually provided comments. Now, you had asked about, and now I'm forgetting who asked because I was answering a bunch of questions earlier. I think it was Lisa who asked if you can use Excel here. What's also really nice is if in the end you need it to be a certain file, like you need it to be a PDF or you need the file to be a presentation or a doc. What's nice about Google is they have under File, Download As, and you can change it to any of these that you're looking for. So you can actually convert this into a Microsoft PowerPoint if you'd like. You can change it into a PDF file if you'd like. And so all of that is available. And the opposite is true as well. So I'm going to go back to Josh's overall folder with his group. And Josh wanted to upload maybe a Word document. If he goes to New, he can upload a file. As soon as that file is uploaded, if you right click on it, you have the option to convert it. So Lisa, your question earlier about can you use Excel here? You would just upload your Excel file and then you can convert it to a Google document and then you're able to make all the changes. So it's also a nice place to store files, not just work collaboratively in the sense of actually working in the document. If you have an image that you want to share with your group, you can upload that image into the folder as well. So there's a lot of options of what you can also add to the folder to work with. Okay. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, you can store up to 15. Lisa, you're asking if you can store how much? It can be stored up to 15 gigs. And then after that, they start charging. I don't pay. Jennifer, did you say that you have an account with them?
You're on mute, Jennifer.
Yeah, I had to unmute, sorry. Yes, I do have an account with them, and I know I set it up a while ago, so I think it's around $3.99, something like that, but around $5 or less to get more storage. And I'm gonna actually pop in there, and I'll get the answer to that question by the end. So I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Laura, and I'll find the answer to that question for you.
Perfect. Mark, to answer your question about uploading, and I see Sophia kind of answered, with Word, I actually have not really had too many issues unless it's some like crazy font that I'm using. I don't typically have issues with Word. With Excel, if you're converting from Sheets into Excel, sometimes the coloring changes, but I haven't had the opposite be true. Like when I go from Excel to Sheets, I haven't really had a problem. But PowerPoint, yes. So Sophia, when she says especially with PowerPoint, their slides option has a limited amount of, and I don't know if you're still looking at my screen, but their slide option has a limited amount of font styles. So again, if you're using something, I recently created a Google slide for a presentation I needed to do, and then I wanted to convert it to a PowerPoint just in case the internet wasn't working. And I had a whole bunch of links, and when I converted it from Google Slides over to a Microsoft PowerPoint, none of my links were working. So that was actually a really big problem for me. The links were not even like links to websites. They were links within the document itself, so I can jump from one screen to the other more easily. So that tends to be a problem with PowerPoint. But if you know you're looking for something basic like this, if I converted this, it would pretty much look exactly the same. Okay.
And Laura, there are several different pricing points, and so I did put in the chat to everyone a link to the Google Drive storage pricing and plans.
Perfect, thank you. And then Joni said there are some help documents with advice on this issue. That is actually one thing that I love about Google is they have so many resources where you can find answers. So I've had a little issues here and there as I've been learning to use it, and it's been extremely beneficial to just kind of go on and see what other people have been struggling with and how to maybe work around it. And in our handout, and sadly, I don't remember the page. Toward the bottom of the handout, there's a resource section. And this is a website that I've recommended to individuals. It's called gcflearnfree.org. And they have tools for teaching a bunch of different online tools, but they also have like math tutorials. And so they actually have an entire Google section. They have a portion on Drive, Docs, Sheets. Sadly, they don't have slides yet, but they do have like even Google Maps. So they have a whole section on that. And it's a really great website. Kristen, you use that all the time. That's great. I don't know many people who have heard of the site before. Okay. So let's go back to Josh. And at this point, Josh, Brandon, and Sarah, although they have a lot of work left to do, they're on their way to success with their project, primarily because they have an easy way to do it with access through Google Drive. And we have a Q&A session, but I'm not sure if everyone has pretty much asked their questions already. Are there any further questions that anyone has?
Josh is pleased that his project went as planned.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this screen. And I'm sorry, I can't see the chat when I was in there. Okay. And lastly, we would like to go ahead and ask for everyone's email address if you wouldn't mind sharing it. Because we have some information we'd like to go ahead and send out to everyone, and our evaluation as well. And we will definitely be sharing this presentation with you. Okay, we seem to be getting everyone's email addresses. So thank you for that. And we'd like to all thank you for joining us today on our 4 tools for collaborating with Google Docs and being such great participants in all of the doc sheets and slides. You guys did a great job. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well done, ladies.
Thank you. Have a good day,
Thank you.
everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
Thanks.